this thing is supposed to, drill into your head right there. Look how cute that is. That needle, goes right into your brain hole. And like Matrix. Yeah, so then this thing is in your head. So what's to say that I don't just turn into a AR device myself, and then I just go look on my cheek, and then recording in progress.
Let's rock.
It's 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3.
3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3.
Hello. Welcome to the Reel2Code Show. My name is Navid Sanati, and I'm here with
Bill Long. Yes. I'm here. I'm paying attention and awake this early morning. Not so early, but hey.
Not so early, but we are here. Okay, so, just getting straight into it. Let's dive in, man. Let's go. November 9th, 2023. What is the evolution of virtual reality? Well, we have an article from Forbes and the evolution of virtual reality, exploring the past, present, and future. All right, Andy, what are we talking about, Andy? Is this a part of it, or is that a Andy Cross?
Yeah, it's Andy. Looks like Andy Cross is a growth strategist, dive master, founder of Impact Consulting, Wild Palm, and Edges of Earth Expedition lead. So good for Andy. Sounds like he's got a lot on his plate, and looks like he wrote this, or she did. I will
You see how it's
apologize if
different different like fonts, It's like, what is that and what is that? This is the main thing, I guess.
yeah, and then it dips down into the story. It starts with, very first person, and Andy is a woman. So my apologies, Andy.
How dare you, Bill? Sexist mother.
Yes, that's me.
Joking.
Get out your pitchforks and torches.
Pitchforks are coming out. Whoa! Get him! Get him! Off with his no. As all right. As someone who has worked in the digital industry for the last 7 years, I've always been fascinated with emerging tech, especially the likes of virtual reality. Since its inception, VR has opened our eyes to what's possible with technology. VR lets us think well beyond the human experience and immerses us in a digital world that almost feels real. Almost. It takes us to places we've always wanted to go and helps to provide solutions to industry challenges like never before. Before we go any further, let's talk a bit about what VR is, as there's lots of ways to think about this emerging technology. Bill?
Well, let's see. VR creates environments, experiences, and interactions that look and seem real. When they wear a VR headset, users are transported into a three-dimensional interactive world that can be explored and manipulated. This digital environment is designed to engage multiple users, including sight, sound, touch, and movement. Immersive content is just as important as the hardware. Without it, there isn't a simulated environment that can be brought to life. Content creation comes from many forms, from gaming, training, and experiences to education and travel. The space for content creators in the VR world is expansive. The history of virtual reality. It is important to understand how VR began to see how far we've progressed. Today, we are seeing a resurgence when it comes to VR, as it certainly has seen its fair shares of up and down moments. In 1968, Yvonne Sutherland introduced the world to what's commonly considered the first head-mounted augmented reality display, known as the Sword of Damocles. This groundbreaking invention laid the foundation for the virtual reality devices we use today. Over the decades, tech advancements have accelerated the development of VR. In the 1980s and 90s, companies like Sega and Nintendo developed VR gaming systems, albeit generally with limited success. It wasn't until the 2010s when companies like Oculus and HTC Vive introduced high-quality VR headsets that leverage powerful graphics and motion tracking technology. Virtual reality. Oh, yes.
Well, that it's crazy how I don't think a whole lot of people really know that this thing has been going on for a long time. That VR has been a thing for a while, and it kind of surprised. It's very similar to computers. I like to compare it to, just kind of the evolution of computers, where there were these giant, machines for the longest time, and they had bulbs, on it, and it's just doing 0-1 calculations for basic things.
Yeah, it's the size of a room, or it takes up an entire floor of a building or whatever. VR's, was it is computer powered, so it's tethered to that tech. So yeah, the more computers advance, the more VR will advance. So I remember the ones from the 80s and 90s, and they were big, heavy sets. I never used them, but I remember seeing them. And they had to be tethered to big ass computers and so on to, just render the crude visuals that they had for the time. And then again, like they said, the video game manufacturers tried with limited success to make VR gaming a thing back then as well. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I wanted to pull up, while there's definitely a lot of different blogs and articles and whatnot about this topic. So this is what I thought was the craziest thing. I mean, that's why I was like, it's been a long time. However, the first VR technical developments were in the 1830s.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yep, the stereoscopes, they still look cool today.
It's the concept. It's like basically coming up with the idea of what it is, because we just really want to figure out for a while now how to create a different world so we can step into it and experience it. Now you can obviously there are different types of people. Obviously they like to do different things. Some of them like to be involved in the story, some of them like to watch it, and I think the more we're going through the gaming and everything else, and how we're observing these stories, we're going to want to be involved. Because if I have anything to say with what my character looks like as far as wardrobe goes, one day to the next, the actions I want them to take, the people I want them to talk to, is still essentially be telling the same story, but just with a different vibe or a different look. It has the same core to it, but you just want to be involved.
Yeah, allowing you to personalize your avatars in the games and all that is something that people just love to do. I mean, it's fun. I can go back to World of Warcraft. That's one of the first ones I remember being able to personalize. I'm sure there are others before that, but and they've definitely upped their game over the years of what you can do to personalize your avatar. And there was hairstyles and skin color and eye color and to a point piercings, but now it's just all over the place.
Yeah. I was just playing Red Dead this morning, and for a couple hours, because I have these different missions kind of saved. So here and there, I like to get in and like do fine tune a couple of missions or play it differently, or see if I run into anything in between those missions that I didn't run into. And this morning, there's these Lemoyne Raiders that are the only gang members in this game that have defeated me in an ambush. They have this one kind of way of ambushing, which they have this giant machine gun thing on the back of the wagon, and they basically pull that in front of you, and then a whole bunch of people come from the side and then from the back, and then by the time you're trying to get out, the machine gun thing gets you and kills you and your horse, and it's over. It's so quick. So I basically died through that twice, and this morning I finally got out of it, and I got the wagon too, so I was like, I now have a wagon with a major machine gun on it I never had before in the game. I mean, I could have gone.
We're able to capture it. That's great.
or be able to get out of it. Yeah, technically get out of the ambush, which
Yeah.
was fun. So I love being, it's just, to me, it's like watching Breaking Bad, and then there's a scene in there that you wish something else would have happened or just would have gone a different route because it's a side story.
Yeah. And you can see, yeah, you can see, I probably would have done this differently. If you get to choose, what happens if I go this way?
Yeah, and something we want to discuss when it comes to AI and how it potentially can regenerate all these things sometime in our next episodes. Bring those up and get more into AI again. But yeah, this immersive world is getting more and more uh, intense. I also wanted to
Definitely.
mention that Red Dead taking the cinematic route, it's not really focusing on cinema. Cinema has found a way to communicate visually with people that emotionally takes you on a ride. It's not just the look of it, it's the design and how we find ourselves on the screen. The focus is telling a story, and how everyone's dressed, their looks, whatever, all of that is just taking you on an emotional ride. And because of Red Dead bringing that element so closely with the storytelling aspect of it into the game, it's taken it to a different level. It's really not a game, it's just you're in the middle of an actual amazing story. Online sucks again, but the story's great.
Yeah. And if they could just fix that, it would be interesting. Okay. Well, we're now going to check out virtual reality today. Recently, Apple Visions Pro made headlines, putting VR back on the map as a tech to watch. Meta's entry into the market with the Oculus Go headset made a similar headline splash. While gaming has been a driving force behind VR's popularity, its uses are not limited to this space. Various industries such as healthcare, education, architecture, and engineering have embraced VR as a powerful tool. Surgeons can use it to prepare for complex procedures, students can explore ancient civilizations, and architects can create virtual walkthroughs of buildings before construction ever begins. Today, it's becoming easier for consumers to leverage VR, which hasn't always been the case. Historically, VR headset was equally part bulky and uncomfortable. The hardware is getting better, albeit not entirely there yet, at least in my opinion. Mega companies are doubling down on consumer-based VR, such as Meta, Sony, and Samsung. While it is one of many players in the market, Apple's expertise in user experience and ecosystem integration could bring significant advancements to the VR space. Google, Qualcomm, and Samsung have also partnered to create a mixed reality platform. An area I have been personally interested in is called VR cinema, a method that could get more people introduced to the world of VR. As someone who has been an avid moviegoer for as long as I can remember, seeing the downturn of cinema during the pandemic was heartbreaking for me. I started to dig into what cinemas were doing to reinvent themselves, and that's when I found the new type of medium, one that inspires people to go back to the cinema for something new and exciting. In short, VR cinema is all about immersive experience that can be brought to life in existing theaters. This innovative form of storytelling offers unique and communal ways to enjoy content, allowing participants to share the virtual space and collectively engage in the narrative journey without having to spend thousands of dollars to experience VR. I'm going to pause right here. I have not even heard of this yet.
That's why I was like, we gotta read this.
It's like VR cinema. I have no idea even what that is, and it sounds awesome. Um, what kind of content do they have? It's
Well, they're not there. Here's the thing. The reason it's not being taken seriously, it's because like the computers in the 80s or the 90s, they weren't serious enough machines to be taken seriously. Once they get to a certain level that it's it's just undoubtedly the next thing. It is going to be disruptive. And at that point, it's going to be like, okay, well, technically there's already like another Amazon or whatever that's already been, doing things like maybe us. Just saying, never know. working on some VR stuff, and then we'll be coming out with like these different, stories and whatnot that we already created. Then they can come and say, look, we really need to create movies that we can walk into. How have you been doing it? Because what we do right now, 16 by 9, 2:4, 2:5, whatever the aspect ratio is just done. Rectangle is out.
Yeah, the 360 is pretty much going to be the way it is.
Or 180 at
Or
least.
180 at least, yeah.
Because if I can sit on a couch and be able to go left to right and basically from here to there, the whole turning around is going to be a pain in the ass. I can already see that. But
yeah, if you're sitting there, definitely it is. If you're like
yeah,
standing for whatever reason or walking around for whatever reason, being able to do a 360 could be interesting. I mean, it definitely could add two more.
it just puts too much toll. Like most people are just lazy. They don't give up. It's just sit down naked. That's why Netflix won, Netflix won because I'm lazy. I want to sit on my ass naked, push the damn button, and then it's there. You know what I mean? And Blockbuster comes in and they're like, well, people want to come into our store and smell the goddamn fucking tapes or whatever. I'm like, or they want to buy popcorn on their way out. Well, now you're dead. So it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, where was I going with that?
Wild tangent, wild tangent, wild tangent.
No, I had a point. I was trying to go somewhere with it. So basically, in the VR world, if I turn, it's going to be tough. If I can have a way to just slowly move because in like you're playing Red Dead, it's 360. You got to have 360. But I don't want to turn around, so I'll have to have some kind of a way to just move the environment in front of me instead of having to turn. Turning could be an option. It's something you can turn on and off, but that is the next stage of it all. And now cinema also is another thing that it's going to be a select people that are going to be interested in that. Because of us growing into, I would have liked to play games more often if I knew games are where it's at, or, we're just going to be immersed in so many more games. I would have kept playing games for the longest time, but wasn't connecting the dots. Just, I didn't get it. I didn't, but thank you, Red Dead. I appreciate the wake up call. I don't know any other game that's done that. So here we are. VR cinema. It's the same thing. I don't need to take control of Arthur, but I'm in the movie now. Which is what was started the maze, technically what we're doing. The VR idea of just sitting there watching it while you have control of the camera, really. That's the idea, because I can move whichever way we go, and then also since my eyes are being tracked, I can focus on what I'm looking at, and whatever I'm looking at, it looks like it's 3D because of the way my eyes are, and that will just throw you right in there. Now, people not having a heart attack is going to be difficult,
Well, depends on how susceptible they are to things. So I guess that'll have to be a disclaimer.
Yeah, that's...
If you have a heart problem, you're either not allowed to do this or you do it at your own risk.
Yeah, just like any of the games that have like flashing lights going on, basically they warn you if you have any kind of
epilepsy
or anything, yeah, that you shouldn't be playing the game because it will trigger stuff. But so yeah, getting back into it, man. I mean, the VR cinema is what's really got my blood boiling for a while. And I've been wanting to really tackle that, but no one has been as interested as I am in it, other than you, obviously.
Oh, yeah. It just, I didn't know there was even the concept out there yet of moving it into an actual, cinema that's, freestanding brick and mortar cinema out there to, people to show up, put on a headset and chill and do it that way. And I looked it up, and yeah, sure enough, VR IMAX is out there. Looks like AMC has got as far as like the national chains, the lead on it. But
Well, one thing I wanted to show here. I'll have to kill this audio and put this on a loop. You see what's going on there?
yeah,
That's AR. That, I mean, that it looks like AR. I'm assuming it's AR. Then I think it's. Let me see if it had any additional info about it here. Okay, so it's a CGI 3D billboard. So, but it's a AR concept, right? So if this was the theater, and you're gonna sit down and watch now your characters like stepping out of. The idea always to me was if I see a train coming, it will go right past us into the audience, into the other side. So it would just freak you out. I just saw a train go right by me. You know what I mean? And designing a little bit the theater to fit the story as well. So we're not just kind of bringing in the AR. It's a combination of set design, theater, and AR combo. Again, I hope people, it's going to take people to get used to it because it's so immersive. You're so in there. It could really mess with your emotions,
Yeah, I easily see that it could. So, I mean, I've sat in theaters and watched movies and found it immersive, and it's like, wait a second, that wasn't real. So I can't imagine being completely immersed in it, like in a VR world where, you really get lost in it.
Well, here's another thing. To me, what's really happening is VR is a part of AR. VR is like working its way to adapt itself into the AR system. Because with those two are very, basically what in my mind was going to happen, like Minority Report. If you were to have that AR at any given time, you could turn it on to a VR mode. Same thing that Apple has right now. That's why they have that little thing that turns you from AR mode to VR mode, technically. And but then having something that's like that heavy on your head, it's like, I mean, this is going to be funny in 10 years. It's like, obviously, like, look at that. Like the phones we were using, mobile phones, like, oh, can't hear you, like, it's the same thing. I'm going to just be wearing these glasses in 10 years and I'm in the world. I have two things in my ears and maybe something in my brain. I don't know.
Well, if Elon Musk has his way, yes, you will have something in your brain.
Yeah. What was that company?
Oh, hell, I don't remember.
That's fine. Let's
hop back. You're gonna find out.
Yeah, I have to. Neuralink, because I mean, obviously,
yeah.
I'm not talking out of my. I mean, I am sometimes talking out of my ass, but just my opinion, obviously. But this was something that I don't know if anybody knows about this, but this is a thing, and they took off of this is like basically Apple website, but it's just not as good quality, I have to say. It's different. Now, this thing is supposed to, drill into your head right there. Look how cute that is. That needle, goes right into your brain hole. And like Matrix. and surgical robot. Yeah, so then this thing is in your head. So what's to say that I don't just turn into a AR device myself, and then I just go click on my cheek, and then with that sound effect in the different world.
Craziness. Definitely will be interesting. That is for sure. Seeing what happens.
Yeah. Where did we stop?
I've got it here. So let's continue with Forbes for a little bit longer. Sorry, my audio is being a pain. There we go. With the rise of streaming services, changing customer preferences, and the access to more forms of immediate content consumption, viewers are becoming more interested in shorter form content and different experiences that fit with their lifestyles. The VR cinema concept provides an experience option for traditional cinemas. Surround Sync VR technology and parent company White Spark Pictures VR Content are two companies paving the way in this space. Surround Sync is both the hardware and software package. According to its website, it uses existing entertainment infrastructure and venues. Meanwhile, White Spark Pictures creates content that can be distributed globally in these VR-enabled theaters. White Spark Pictures has produced two 360-degree VR films, The Antarctica Experience and Beyond the Milky Way, and both leverage the Surround Sync package. When I had a chance to experience the films in real time, it all came full circle. I felt like I was actually there. Okay, Andy, let's hope it was that good. I'd like to check them out myself too. Now, how businesses can get started with virtual reality. If you're a business that is looking to integrate VR into your offering, now's the time. There are a few key points you might want to consider before delving into VR. What is your goal in incorporating VR into your business model? What are you aiming to achieve, e.g., product visualization or customer engagement? Who is the key audience you are looking to reach? And how tech literate are they? What will the overall user experience be like? Yes, the easier it is for the end user to use, the better. So just keep in mind that they are not tech literate. What content will you need? Use or create as part of the effort. Does this need to be developed, or is it out there in the world already? How big is the content lift? Will you need hardware and software? How will VR integrate with current operations and your existing tech stack? How much budget is allocated to this effort, and are there other administrative considerations in areas such as legal, safety, and compliance? With such interesting advancements upon us, it is a pivotal moment, regardless of industry you are in. This convergence of technologies and content opens up new avenues for work, play, and creative expression. And that is it. Thank you,
And there's
folks.
Andy. Yes. So, yeah, potentially somebody to reach out to there. Then I really don't know why. Hollywood is so blind. And I'm taking this as a great opportunity to just basically do exactly what Hollywood did back in 1908 or whatever it was. I'm bad with dates.
It was back their ways.
And just said fuck you to New York and came to LA to start making good projects. There were a lot of great projects for the longest time. Oh my god. Because they had to focus on storytelling and characters. And then learning how to use the medium, which were the cameras. I mean, there's a lot of, when you watch the old school movies back in the day, it looks like student films today. A lot of them do.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't have the concepts that, we do now, the ways of moving the camera around, to where it seamlessly moves. I mean, it took, visionary filmmakers to start even trying that. Orson Welles, for instance, he did a lot of that, innovative camera work in Citizen Kane when he was making it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even up to the point of digging out the bottom of the soundstage he was on, digging a hole in the soundstage to get the camera angle right.
Yeah, it was basically, going from on stage to off stage. For the longest time, they had that same feeling that it had to be like a theater thing, and the camera is the audience, and we're watching the story unfold. And as soon as they realized they can pick up that camera, move in, zoom in, and get a close up shot, it changed the way we experience a story. Um, it's the same concept here. Why aren't there more Hollywood um, creatives being done around this? And maybe there are. Maybe they're just not talking about it. I don't know.
Well, Hollywood creatives maybe, but they're not the ones who are in charge of the studios.
No, no, no.
Like our last, discussion. It's, the artists are still there in Hollywood, but they're
Yeah,
not in charge of anything. And the people who are in charge have one thing in mind. They want to make a whole lot of money for themselves, for the business and shareholders. That's about it. They're beholden to the shareholders. It's just like, the oil companies. That's all they're concerned with. Fuck the public, fuck everybody else. We want to make as much money as possible for us and the shareholders. So,
yeah, exactly. And that's why I think it's good for, us in general, and it's my plan to work on something that's the concept and test it. So the maze to me is like a concept. It's
mm-hmm.
a product for sure to sell and make money off of. But it's not to make money off of in general. It's to see if people are interested enough for it to work, and if it makes money, it means it's working. That's all that means. And once you run into something like that, and then you get the attention of some Hollywood execs, then you can go find the real artists and say, hey, exec, you stay back, chill out. We're going to do our thing. That's the part of the agreement. If you step into our show and make it a shit show, we're out. Go somewhere else, find other investors, because, that's how it goes.
Yeah. Reminds me of that Mel Brooks quote from when he was doing some movie back in the 80s, and he sent the studio a copy of the cut that he'd made, and they sent back notes, and his response was, we sent this to you as part of keeping you informed of our progress. It was not to, solicit something from, raging incompetence.
Yeah, that
So,
was a good one. I remember that one. Then there was Stanley Kubrick, right? That sent a really really nice one to the studio, basically to go fuck themselves. Um, that's how it goes. And most movies, stories, whether they like it or not, it's a fucking risk. They don't want to risk. They're in a risky business. It's it's not, if you don't want to be in a risky business, get in the oil business or get in the industry business. I don't know, go get in the cannabis business, whatever. So it's right in front of me. Um why would you get into a business that's this risky and not risk? It's like now just sitting like that's why we're all pissed. That's where it's just so many people are like, where are the good movies at?
nobody's willing to take that risk. They're not, going to make 25 movies a year and 23 of them are crap and they lose money on, and the other two actually make money. So they come out even or on the plus if they're really lucky. Not like, I mean, not even that the 23 other 23 are crap. It's just it didn't hit with the audience. But, now it's like we're going to make 5 movies a year for, $500 million each. And, our focus group says that they all should make us money. And we're going to use the same people over and over and over again in them because that's what the audience wants to see. Not necessarily. I'm kind of tired of seeing Chris Pratt and shit.
I mean, it would be nice to see, yeah, I mean, just see new faces. They're also not taking advantage of people that are heavily involved in social media and have amazing followings. I would go hire Mr. Beast immediately and put him in a movie. He would be like, why would I do that? I'm not gonna make, that's not even good for my brand, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, he'd
Um,
probably turn them down because no matter what they offer him, he's going to make more money doing what he's doing.
yeah, it has to do zero to do with the, it basically will have nothing to do with the money. It has everything to do with the story and what it has to do with his brand and, and what does it do for his audience. Period. It has no, everything else is irrelevant. And he really just sitting there being his own focus group technically and listening. That's all you need to do. The executives need to just do the job, you know, be involved. Fuck the focus group, man. What you need to do is go make the movie and then bring in test people and see how you can just adjust it so they like it. There's no other way of doing it. And just beforehand, I'm going to read the script, and then the script is going to tell me if this is like, this was the funny part, like hitting up one of these companies. I'm not going to say who. And then the lady was like, well, send over your test. It has to go through our quality control. It has to pass the 70%. I'm like, huh.
Like Black Adam?
I'm like, so did Black Adam pass the 70% test? Because I think that would fail, below 50, in my opinion. And she was just like, well, we just have to send, okay, so we're just talking to a tool. You know what I mean? I don't know what else to call it. It's a tool, just similar as an AI that's going to be put in something and it shits out something else. And it's like, okay, now this is it. I'm like, that's your opinion, man. I'd like to feel what's going on, and based off of what that is going, like Rocky, Sylvester Stallone did not write that by accident. It was a very intelligently written script. It had everything to do with the time. It had everything to do with what Hollywood was going through. He knew he had a golden script in his hand because he listened. He was he understood what people were going through. He needed to give them that hero, that underdog hero.
Yeah, and he stuck to his guns when getting it out there. I mean, he got turned down a lot for that film, especially since he wanted to play the lead. But still, he knew it was. He knew he had good. He had something good there, so he stuck with it. And it was a damn good movie.
It was a great movie. I like I like the Rocky franchise. I mean, technically, some of them are better than the other ones, but that's one of those great stories that are. I mean, I think this is why I like to be involved in filmmaking, is to understand those layers and to put people through an experience, and then when they come out, they could be motivated from that. That could just change their life, So they didn't just sit down and watch a movie and got popcorn stuck in their fucking teeth. They actually got something from it, When you play Red Dead Redemption, you get something from it emotionally. It motivates you to a level. It's like, I have to go and protect my people, man. Whatever it takes. And and the game is really trying to push you to being an honorable person. You have to really go out of your way to bring that bar down. But in general, it's really just putting you through that experience,
Yeah, precisely.
So,
oh yeah, all good there.
let's dive into this.
Phantom Touch. VR reveals new insights in human perception. Where we go start with the summary here. It says researchers discovered a phantom touch illusion in virtual reality, where users feel sensations without physical contact. The study involved 36 volunteers, demonstrated that participants experienced a tingling sensation when virtually touching their bodies. The phenomenon suggests a complex interplay of sensory perception and internal body representation. This discovery holds potential applications in neuroscience and medicine, advancing our understanding of human perception. So obviously they weren't using any kind of haptics. They could just feel. They thought they were touching their body and they got a sensation in that general area, kind of like the, phantom buzzes you could get in your leg if you ever carried your old bones in your pant pocket for too long and it used to buzz on you enough that periodically you're walking down the street and think your phone's ringing and you reach into your pocket. So the key facts: the study observed a phantom touch illusion in VR where subjects felt a tingling sensation without physical contact. 2, the sensation was consistently reported even when touching parts of the body not visible in VR, indicating a complex sensory interaction. 3, this phenomenon, unique to virtual environments, did not occur in controlled experiments with non-VR stimuli like laser pointers.
Sorry, I just realized my mic was muted during what I was saying. So I'm going to go back and try to reiterate what I said for a second. Here's a hook.
I heard you. That's interesting.
Yeah, because it's coming through Zoom, but I muted it on my mic over here for the recording.
Okay.
Here's a hook. Sex in VR? What? So sex in VR, I mean, this is going to be freaky when it comes to, and I was saying that's why I got muted here. My the first thing my head goes towards is safety, and if this is going to mess with people in a certain way, how many steps that needs to be taken before most people can use this, because it could get really annoying real quick, but it could also get real fun too, so just wanted to sum up what I said in mute mode.
No, definitely. And like I even threw in there for the hell of it, they, like, Ready Player One had the anatomically correct haptic doll that you could play with in the virtual brothels inside their VR simulation. So, I mean, there's going to be something out there for everybody, no doubt. All right, let's go back to Phantom. Let's see. VR is not only a technology for games and entertainment, but also has potential for in science and medicine. Researchers at Ruhr University, Bochum, Germany, have gained new insights into human perceptions with the help of VR. They use virtual reality scenarios in which subjects touch their own bodies with virtual objects. There you go. To researchers' surprise, this led to a tingling sensation at the spot where the avatarized body was touched. This effect occurred even though there was no real physical contact between the virtual object and the body. The scientists led by Dr. Artur Polansky and Professor Christian Klaas from the Department of Neurotechnology described this phenomenon as phantom touch illusion. They published their results in the journal Scientific Reports in September 2023. People in a virtual reality sometimes have the feelings that they are touching things, although they are actually not only encountering virtual objects, says first author Artur Pulaski from, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, the University Clinic of Ruhr University Bochum, explaining the origin of the research question. We showed that the phantom touch illusion is described by most subjects as a tingling or prickling electrifying sensation, or as the wind was passing through their hand. Interesting. I'm kind of tossed on the last, as if the wind was passing through their hands. It's definitely an interesting sensation. I get the other two, the tingling or the prickling, even the electrifying sensation, but that's very oddly specific with the wind.
Just weird.
Anyway, body sensation arises a little bit. Body sensation arises from complex combinations of different sensory perceptions. The neuroscientists wanted to understand what is behind the phenomenon and find out which process in the brain and body play a role in it. They observed that the phantom touch illusion also occurred when the subjects touched parts of their body that were not visible in virtual reality. Second author, Marita Metzler adds, this suggests that human perception and the body sensation are not only based on vision, but on complex combination of many sensory perceptions and the internal representation of our body.
Yes. I will take that back into the way we communicate and the percentages of how we communicate, like words. Words are 7-10% of our communication. The tonality is another 20-30%, and I think the body language has got the most, I think. But we only communicate through words about 7%. So whatever we say is 7% total of the communication. If I say, like, fuck you, Bill, you're crazy, you know what I mean? It sounds whatever, but he's like, oh, fuck you, Bill, you're crazy, then that same word, same sentence just said so many different ways, and that's where all the communication comes from. This is, I think, exactly where the same kind of perception is with us, and how we're getting information in and understanding how we're feeling things, and going about stuff, because it's not just through our eyes or ears. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
So we will move on to the Game Awards.
Ah, yes, the Game Awards.
And on December 7th of 2023, at the Peacock Theater, Los Angeles, there will be the Game Awards. 22 days until the live show. I unfortunately have a client that I have to take live during that time. Not unfortunately for me, unfortunately in general. I have to work on that, but I'm going to record the show, and then Bill and I can hop on and go over it, and just watch it, react to it. Something I just want to throw on the channel here, more focusing on games and the game world and their storytelling, and how that can potentially connect with Hollywood. It's already there. Obviously, this is in LA. They just don't take this shit seriously. Which is fine. They don't need to. Then, after that, I wanted to kind of touch over this a little bit, and then we will dive into more of AR stuff next time, and what's going on with AR, and what does that have to do with games and storytelling in general.
AR gaming market to grow by 24.12 billion US dollars from 2022 to 2027. The market is concentrated due to the presence of prominent companies like Augmented Pixels Inc., Blipar Limited, and Hoffley Limited, and many more. I will probably stop right there just reading the title, saying that most of these companies are going to either get absorbed by the bigger players if they have anything good, or they're going to go bankrupt because they're going to be put out of business by the bigger players.
I think
However,
I agree.
So any names we mention in here that are not big players, because I see Qualcomm down the list here, they'll be ones that would be definitely buying up somebody to get their tech.
Mm-hmm.
So this is from November 14th, 2023, the PRN Newswire. And this is the AR gaming market is estimated to grow to US dollars 24.12 billion from 2022 to 2027, growing at CAGR of 30.11%. I do not know what that means, but we will find out before the end of this episode. The AR gaming market is concentrated owing to the presence of many global and regional companies. A few prominent companies that offer AR gaming markets are Augmented Pixels Inc., Blipar, Hoffley, HP Inc., Milkroom Studios, Olive X, Qualcomm, Rovo Entertainment, Total Immersion, and Netmarble Corp. North America is estimated to contribute 40% to the growth of the global market during the forecast period. Developers, consumers, and manufacturers want to develop and use smart technologies such as Internet of Things, IoT, and various advanced technologies such as augmented reality, mixed reality, and virtual reality. AR is a category leader among the largest and fastest growing technologies. In addition, the fund has planned to make a capital investment by pooling equity investments and leading XR businesses Qualcomm Ventures and Qualcomm Technologies, with a view of funding the development ecosystem of experiences for emerging technologies such as health and wellness, gaming, media entertainment, education, or entrepreneurship. Hence, these factors are expected to drive market growth in the region during the forecast period.
All right.
Side note here is, since they brought it up, Qualcomm Ventures, we know that other tech companies have their own venture capital sides that are out there looking for things in AI, VR, AR, everything, I'm sure, at this point. So they can, like I said, gobble up these smaller companies that might be making a good product and incorporate them in to their stuff.
Big time. It is a happening for sure. So, well, on that note, want to basically end it on AR and come back next time and dive into it a little bit more. Maybe add AI as well. Depends on what's going on through the week and what's happening. What are some news and all that goody good stuff. So, learned a lot. It's an interesting, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
concept here to keep going through some of these articles without even reading most of it, and then we can actually research it, dive into it, and talk about it here. You know, so
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, they've got some interesting stuff out there. Like I said, I'm learning stuff. Hell, I just learned about the VR cinema. I mean,
mhm.
I always knew you could watch movies in VR, yes, but I didn't realize you could go to an actual cinema and sit down and watch it in VR there. So I'm going to have to check it out to see if it's as good as Andy says it is. And if it is, well, maybe that'll be something new to look for. Not sure about its, longevity in the marketplace, but it's definitely a way to get people interested in it for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure about its longevity either. Somehow it has to, obviously people like to go out into events and be a part of something like that. And to me, lately, most theaters are just they don't theaters are most of them are just not clean, you know, and getting really weird. I used to really like I didn't even care about that. I cared about that, but it's just like getting to a point where the movie sucks, the theaters are dirty, people are just loud, chewing on shit, going, it's just like maybe we got to figure out something here, I
Yeah,
like to have a
I
better experience when I go to so it's like respectful, it's comfortable, it smells good, or it doesn't smell at all.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to, yeah, that's my biggest thing of going to a theater anymore. It has been for years, even pre-pandemic, is that being around people, they're rude, they are obnoxious. I want to smack half the people because they're talking, using their phones during the damn movie, chomping with their mouths open. It's just ridiculous. Now, I would hope that if you're in an immersive environment like a VR theater, that you wouldn't hear any of that. You might still smell the popcorn or whatever they're eating, drinking, etc. But I think that would possibly enhance it for going to a physical theater. So
Yeah.
because I wouldn't have to hear the guy sitting next to me. I would hope.
Yeah, ideal. I mean, you're all in this immersive world, and you're watching like something suspenseful or whatever, and then like someone's coming around the corner, and then the guy next to you farts. It's like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, exactly. Or does something stupid or decides, oh, that's the time I've got to get my ass up and run to the bathroom.
yeah. Can you move? Like, excuse me, moving, coming through. You know. Um.
It's like, what, you got to go now?
And that's another thing. They put those seats so close to each other, just shove in as many people as possible. I'm like, how are you gonna do that with the VR? They're gonna just like turn and smack right into somebody.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, how's that going to work? That's why I want to see it. So I've got to find one. I doubt there's one near me. Well, technically they say there's one near me, but I doubt there's a real one near me. I probably have to go visit you and see.
Yeah, if it's more of a concert thing, cause concerts, everyone's loud, you know, and it makes sense. Concerts just make they make so much more than theaters. Yeah, unless I don't know, it's something I just pull out of my ass, you know. But to me, that people go to concerts way more than they go to theaters, and like somebody like Taylor Swift is just tearing it up by herself compared to one movie. You know what I mean? Just I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And she, hey,
So
as much as, I don't necessarily get into her music, I got
I
to give
don't
her
either.
credit on,
Oh
she's
yeah,
smart
absolutely.
as hell
She
getting that.
is definitely talented. She understands her audience. She gives a shit about her audience. She sings for her audience. She gets to their core. That's why she's successful. She's just providing so much value through her music. That music is like, you know, lifeblood of teenage girls. That sounds weird, but it is what it is. Um, they're really like, I mean, I don't know if you've seen a video clip of these girls at the theater, you know, when they were about to watch her movie or they had just watched her movie. I don't know. They're on the ground crying. They're a ton, all of them. Ah! I'm like, I've never seen anything like that in a theater. I wish I want to create that experience myself. I want people to be crawling out like, oh my God, what a story. Ah, you know. And she did
Yeah,
that.
and this was just a concert.
A concert movie. Yeah.
So I mean, it's incredible. So
Phenomenal, really.
full props to Taylor Swift. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, and then she shows up to NFL game to see her guy play, and it just blows up NFL for that game. You know,
Yeah.
and everybody wanted her to come over to their game. You know, hey, can you show up and like, you know, no, I mean, I just showed up to support my guy. I didn't do it to monetize on it.
But she knows everywhere she goes. That's the way it's gonna be. So
Well, she brought in as you know, she brought in, it's like cross promotion. It's the same thing. She brought in her audience that are just, it's her community, and the people that don't ever watch football ever were tuned in.
yeah,
But what little teenage girl watches fucking football?
I would say most don't. Hell, I don't watch football.
I don't watch football, but we're in the same
I
category.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't watch football, and with her there, actually, I found the whole thing a little ridiculous that everybody was losing their shit over her being at this football game. But
Everybody, you know, I don't. I obviously you and I don't really see it, but that's irrelevant. It doesn't even matter. That's like, it's one of those things where you just look at what's happening, what's the number, what are the numbers, what's the reaction, and that's the reality, you know. And when we see somebody like her have to just really tune in and learn, because then you're missing out. And to me, when I would love to create some really good rom-com, you know, I'd love to make some really good rom-coms, maybe in an immersive world or not. But those are also my audience, you know, and I need to cater to them. I need to understand them more. Why were those girls on the floor like that? You know? So I need to study those songs. What are these songs? Interview every single one of, not every one of them, but like, because there's billions of them. But, you know, really understand that target audience. And I hate to say target audience because it becomes a community. It's how do you understand your community better?
mm-hmm.
That's all. Anyway,
Exactly.
on that
Yeah.
note, if you have anything else, Bill, let's,
No, I have nothing else right now. I said I'm looking forward to picking up where we left off next week and seeing what else we can find.
exactly. So again, thanks for tuning in. I'm seeing there are some activities here on this channel. Some people are watching, so appreciate you hanging out. We're gonna try to keep fine tuning things like our camera here and background and mic, all that
Yep.
stuff. It's just kind of to get it started and keep it going, provide you with as much interesting and relatable info as possible, because this is about storytelling and technology, really. So we say films, games, or games, movies, whatever we want to say that, however we want to say that. We're here to understand how we are going to get more and more immersed into our stories with our characters. And thanks for joining the ride. And if this was a good episode for you and you liked it, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please share with somebody that you think might enjoy it. And until next time, have a good weekend, maybe, or have fun. Bye bye.
Have fun.
Talk soon.